Alright. Picture on the front of here is about Tillamook corruption. Yeehaw. Is this damn thing charging? Yep, it's down to 19% though. Alright, so we're gonna call the Tillamook, Oregon here, the number that goes to their hospital.
Thank you for calling Adventist Health Tillamook. Please know that your call may be recorded for quality control purposes. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. You may press 0 or hold on the line, and our operator will be happy to assist. Wait while I transfer your call.
Adventist Health Tillamook, this is Nicole. How can I help you today?
Hello, my name is Sean Schwartz. I was calling yesterday to say thank you about one of the people who worked there named Erica, who treated me like a person.
Okay.
However, I do have to not just complain. I have to turn in the stuff that happened last night.
Okay, so we don't really have anyone here that, well, let me go ahead and turn you over to a nurse supervisor.
All right.
They probably would be the best people to help you with the complaints and stuff and be able to take those from you.
Well, it's not just complaints. This is stuff that needs to go to mandated reporters, which would be them anyway. So go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and transfer you to them. Supervisor, this is Carla.
Hello, Carla. My name is Sean Schwartz.
Oh.
I was abused at the hospital last night and also yesterday by the police.
You were abused?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you said?
I was treated pretty horribly. There was one person at the hospital named Erica who was professional, and the rest of them, it was like a joke to them. I mean, this is not okay. Well, I've had repeated issues with the hospital, but I need to be able to get my hospital paperwork from there. I can't just be threatened, harassed, and intimidated every time I go to a hospital just because I'm homeless. It's not okay.
I agree. Yes.
I went in November of last year to try to turn in crimes that were committed against me. I don't have a friend or family member to help me to turn in any of that, so I get the runaround, which is why we're supposed to go to mandated reporters. And when they don't do their job the first time, it makes it difficult to trust them. Now, when I went to the hospital the first time, I want to say thank you, first of all, that they did actually try to get it initiated, but the follow-through wasn't there because there was no social worker there, and the officer that I was trying to turn in, Officer Lothman, showed up. He was the one that responded to the call, and it presented a safety issue. Now, the hospital workers that were there that night should have told Lothman to leave. That was last November. I've been trying to turn in that situation since last November. Then on January 28th of this year, I was assaulted by Dr. Stephan L. Stephanides while in the hospital with back problems, as well as trying to turn in exactly the same thing. I needed them to do their jobs as a mandated reporter. Instead, a lady named Kathy from TFCC came and bullied me with Dr. Stephanides.
Hey, Sean, can you hang up for just a second?
Hang up?
Hang on?
Yeah.
Can you hang on?
Yes.
Hold
on. Thank you for calling Adventist Health Tillamook. We'll be right back to assist you.
Okay, sorry about that. What is it that I can do for you today, Sean?
Well, ma'am, I have been trying to make a complaint to you guys, not just as a complaint, but because it does need to be turned in by mandated reporters, because these issues did happen. I tried to turn in the assault by Dr. Stephanides that happened on January 28th, and nobody will do anything about it. I get the quote-unquote mentally ill treatment, and that's never okay. Mandated reporters, when an at-risk and disabled adult is being abused, they're required to contact the law immediately, as well as get a social worker there to guarantee our safety. If there's an issue with the police officers, I get that that's not your choice, but also there are safety protocols that are in place to protect victims like me, and they haven't been utilized at that hospital at all. Also, the bullying by hospital staff, or getting a bullying and mean tone with a patient who's scared, or insinuating things and not listening to the victim and then leaving and kicking the victim out. Like, this is cruelty. I do have the recording from last night at the hospital, nearly the entirety of it. I was trying to explain to them my disabilities, and I was getting talked over and redirected left, right, and center. The thing is, yesterday I was harmed by police and taken to the jail, and they didn't take me with my cane, so I had to walk back to town from jail without a cane. Now that's not legal. So then I had to call for an ambulance to get a ride to somewhere near where I could get a cane. That's the medical help that I needed. The ambulance said all they could do is take me to the hospital. Well, they took me to the hospital instead of my vehicle, which is fine. But at the hospital, they wouldn't help to provide me with a ride to my vehicle. They wanted to make me walk. Now, I'd already been forced to walk from the jail to about halfway to town, I suppose, and that had given me the back spasms to begin with. There's also the fact that the safety issues over the assault by Mr. Stephanides, as well as all of the mandated reporters present who did absolutely nothing, and the fact that there is cameras in your building that show that I was assaulted. This stuff absolutely does need to be reported, and it needs to be taken seriously. It's not okay for me to be retaliated against for telling on people who harmed me, even if those people have badges, even if they're doctors.
It sounds to me like you need to talk to Northwest Senior Services and Disabilities.
Ma'am, they were there. Ma'am, the lady from TFCC sent me to Northwest Senior and Disability Services. Northwest Senior and Disability Services sent me back to TFCC. When it involves a police officer, everybody pawns it off immediately and sends me somewhere else who says it's not their job. A crime against me is a crime whether it was committed by a police officer or a doctor or an average citizen, and people's jobs as mandated reporters is still their job.
Sean.
Saying my name 4 times like I'm retarded is condescending. Do not talk down to me like I'm a dog.
What can I do for you right now?
Well, ma'am, I'm trying to get a hold of someone where I can actually get this situation addressed.
Okay. Well, I can take your phone number and forward it to someone who's here on Monday who can address the situation.
And this has happened already half a dozen times where somebody was going to call me on Monday and never did. All right, this is unprofessional. You are covering up crimes by your buddies, and this isn't okay. And maybe not you in specific, but this is something that goes on every single week. I take abuse. I make call after call after call to take abuse from all of those places for trying to turn this in. All of you pawn me off onto each other, and none of you do your jobs. None of you document it. You say, I'll give them your phone number. No, that doesn't document the abuse. That doesn't get it turned in. She hung up. They have my number. They've had my number.
Thank you for calling Adventist Health Tillamook. Please know that your call may be recorded for quality control purposes. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. You may press 0 or hold on the line, and our operator will be happy to assist you. Did you know we offer a variety of special services? We have top specialists in audiology. Adventist Health Tillamook, this is Deborah. How can I help you?
Hello, Deborah. I just called and was transferred to, I don't know the person's name. The thing is that I tried to tell her about the crimes that were committed against me at the hospital last night, as well as on January 28th. The hospital staff are entirely unprofessional with the exception of Erica. The rest of them were rude and inconsiderate. I mean, there's no reason for them to treat a human being the way they did. It's not okay.
Okay.
They didn't address my medical issue, and they did break the law multiple times last night.
Okay, and what is your name?
My name is Sean Schwartz.
S-H-A-W-N?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you spell your last name?
SCHWARTZ.
Okay. The best bet is to call during the week, during regular hours, and you can submit a complaint then.
Ma'am, I've already tried that. I've tried calling it in. Ma'am, I can't do the written stuff even. Okay, I have disabilities that are being ignored, and they're being taken advantage of by every single service here. I'm being abused by the places that I'm supposed to go, the places that are supposed to be safe for an at-risk adult to go to turn in predators. When they're being abused, when they're being taken advantage of. I'm being abused in those places, ma'am. Being abused at the hospital is not okay. Being abused by the police is not okay. I get that I'm just a homeless person and I just have government insurance, but that's inhumane.
Okay, I don't know other than to tell you the channels to go through in order to put your complaint in.
Ma'am, the channels that I'm being told to go through have resulted in me being sent through magic hoops of getting absolutely nothing done for 11 months. I mean, since November of last year, at least with your hospital. And I have followed the instructions that I've been given. For 11 months, it has eaten up every penny that I've had and every bit of my sanity to have to go through this abuse every single day. And I can't even turn it in because I can't depend on mandated reporters to do their jobs. And now that they haven't done their jobs, it is going to reflect badly on the facility. I get that. And also, a lot of people lose their jobs because they didn't do their jobs as mandated reporters. And there's $2,000 fine apiece for them not doing their job as a mandated reporter. But the stuff that they've done since then is far worse, all right? Assault against an at-risk adult in front of the lady from TFCC. They initiated an assault because they didn't want to do their jobs as mandated reporters. And they kicked me out of the hospital. Same as last night. The doctor didn't want to hear a thing I had to say. Now, Erica put me at ease a little bit, and if anybody else there, even one other person, had actually acted professionally, the situation could have come out positive. Instead, it resulted in me being in severe physical pain and possibly more physical damage.
And how can we help you?
Well, ma'am, I need this to be taken seriously, and even though it is an emergency, the fact is that I'm being harmed by law enforcement. So something needs to be done. One of your folks who is a mandated reporter needs to try to help me to turn in the abuse that happened at the hospital, including the security camera from that night.
Okay. Your best bet is to call on a Monday and talk to administration.
I've done that repeatedly. They never call me back, or they talk over me and dismiss me and send me to places like TFCC or other mental health places.
Well, I don't know what else to do for you, sir, because you've followed through all the steps.
You're right, and I was dismissed at every step.
I've worked here for 16 years, and I've never heard this before.
Yeah, I almost believe you. No, I don't, because I have recordings with a lot of other victims of your hospital. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of people speaking out about being assaulted at your hospital. A lot of people
Well,
speaking out about being mistreated, maltreated, treated inhumanely, forced to. You forced a woman in a wheelchair to try to crawl back to her place. Yeah, I've got the recordings with her son about that situation. There's
I just,
also the
sorry.
runaround.
Okay, well, I need to continue my job, but I suggested what you can do, and I don't know what to tell you from then.
You're
Okay.
supposed to be a mandated reporter, aren't you?
I'm sorry?
You're supposed to be a mandated reporter, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Is the nurse that I spoke with?
Hold on, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's mandated? I'm sorry, the nursing supervisor is busy right now. Like I said, call Monday and ask for Gina Seufert in administration.
Yes, ma'am. I've already spoken with Gina. She blew me off, but thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Oh, one more thing. Jesus fucking Christ. Useless as tits on a goddamn boar. Well, that's gonna annoy the hell out of me. So what are we gonna do to remedy this situation? I'm gonna go up to Center Market. I'm gonna get myself something to eat. Two more phones. Then there's also my flip phone in here somewhere too. See what my battery's at, 16%. Alright, I'm gonna shut off this video and then I'm gonna call that 988 lifeline again and go to the Veterans Crisis Line one that I was told to go to. One of the ladies told me, you know what, you call whichever one you're comfortable with. Even though I told her I wasn't a veteran. See, all these places that they're telling me to go, the reason that I was abused is because I had to go alone. I had to make the calls alone, and there was nobody making the calls with me to say, hey, this needs to be taken seriously. Right now, I gotta try to find a check. There's a check that they give you when you get out of jail, and I gotta cash it so I can have some money. See these false charges here? I don't have any money to pay any of the stuff they're having me do. All I want is for them to do something when I am harmed. These fucking cops are goddamn crooks. I gotta try to find a check from the jail so I can cash it. But I can't find it. It could possibly be at the hospital. It might be in the ambulance. It might be somewhere in between. But the thing is, if I had a fucking friend that I could call, it would have saved me whatever the fuck they're gonna charge me for the goddamn ambulance. Someone typed him, calling himself El Creeper, typed hello. He's gonna get blocked now. I'm tired of this fucking abuse. I'm tired of it. People are dead because cops didn't want to do their jobs. How am I supposed to feel about that? And how am I supposed to trust a cop when all cops do the same thing to homeless people? You get to hear how we're brushed off and blown off. It doesn't matter if we know the law. They're still going to fucking ignore it. I told her about abuse at her hospital and that it needed to be turned in. And what did that woman do? She dismissed me outright. They want to send me to places I've already been that I had to go to alone. And the reason they didn't do their jobs is because I had to go to them alone. The very few times that people did go, it's people who are bored with it, who don't care about my safety. Not okay.